Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us here on the Statewide Noon News. I'm Samantha Harrelson. President Trump making his first direct comments about his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, since Cohen accepted a plea deal and said under oath that the president told him to break the law. Angelica Alvarez reports from the White House.
For more than a decade, Michael Cohen was President Trump's former lawyer and fixer. But on Wednesday, Mr. Trump expressed his sense of betrayal, tweeting, "If anyone is looking for a good lawyer, I would strongly suggest that you don't retain the services of Michael Cohen." On Tuesday, Cohen pled guilty to tax evasion and campaign finance violations. He admitted under oath that Mr. Trump directed him to make hush payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal for the primary purpose of influencing the election.
He committed a crime. He should be indicted. If he were not president, he clearly would be indicted and jailed.
On CBS this morning, Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, said Cohen also has information that would be of interest to special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation on Russian interference.
I can tell you that he is committed 100% to telling the truth to governmental authorities.
5 of the president's former advisors and associates have been convicted of or pleaded guilty to crimes. But the Michael Cohen case is the first that directly implicates the president in a crime. In another tweet Wednesday, the president made the contradictory statement that Cohen pled guilty to 2 counts of campaign finance violations that are not a crime. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill reacted to the plea deal.
We have to look into this. There's no question about it. It's a serious set of problems.
It's a day when the President of the United States has essentially been named an unindicted co-conspirator.
But they say it's too early in the process to discuss possible impeachment proceedings. Angelica Alvarez, CBS News, the White House.
Also on Tuesday, former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort was convicted on 8 of 18 criminal counts by a jury in Virginia. The fraud and tax charges against Manafort stemmed from his work as an international political consultant. Now turning to some statewide news. In Missoula, police released more details about an assault near the Madison Street Bridge early Monday morning. A woman reported being assaulted on the bridge around 4:30 a.m. She told police an unknown man attempted to assault her under the bridge, but she was able to fight him off. Missoula police says they have not identified a motive. As of this afternoon, no arrests have been made. And we're learning more about the man involved in an officer-involved shooting in Great Falls over the weekend. Just last month, Charles Marcotti was ordered to be placed in the 24/7 alcohol monitoring program. The 67-year-old was arrested in May in 2017 on his first DUI offense. The judge then recommended he attend alcohol counseling. This past June, he was arrested for his second DUI. And turning to Fire Watch, the latest update from the Howe Ridge fire burning on the west side of Glacier National Park shows the blaze has burned just over 9,600 acres. The new numbers show a decrease in size from 11,200 acres reported on Monday. There's been no explanation given for the change in the number of acres burned. Fire managers say behavior was moderate on Tuesday, but the fire is expected to pick up again Wednesday afternoon. The Howe Ridge fire has burned over 17 square miles, destroying 13 homes and 14 other structures north of Lake McDonald. Now turning over to Ed in the Weather Center. Ed, we've been talking a little bit about storms developing in the Pacific.
That's right. There's been a lot of activity there, Sammy, and it could even have some influences on our weather. One storm that could be affecting a lot of people's vacations right in close to Hawaii. This storm has been brewing for quite a while now, and it will continue to move in as Hurricane Lane has been hitting winds of 155 miles an hour, a Category 4 hurricane that should lose some of its strength here as we start getting a little bit closer to the weekend. At the same time, we're watching that storm and then also a couple more tropical cyclones all the way over towards Korea and Japan, and that can indirectly be influencing our weather. We're going to talk more about how our week is shaping up in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Ed. In a move to bolster America's coal industry, the Trump administration unveils its new Affordable Clean Energy Rule. The proposed rule rewrites pollution standards for the nation's power plants, a move that could keep aging coal-fired plants like those at Colstrip running longer. The EPA's new Affordable Clean Energy Rule would give states more flexibility to achieve reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, but critics say the controversial move puts public health at risk. Acting EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler says the new proposal will enable the states to build clean, affordable, and reliable energy portfolios and could save the nation's power sector up to $400 million a year in compliance costs. As expected, the proposed rule sparked immediate reaction across the board.
The Clean Power Plan, as proposed by the Obama administration, gave a lot of flexibility to states on how to achieve reductions in carbon pollution. So they gave a lot of flexibility how you do it, but there was some sort of target that needed to be met. Basically, what the changes to this rule have done is basically eliminated any targets. So all you're left is with flexibility, but flexibility to do almost nothing.
Now, taking the opposite view, Representative Greg Gianforte. Congressman Gianforte says he welcomes the new proposed rule, which he says, quote, replaces the burdensome, costly Obama-era mandate with a rule designed to empower states, promote American energy dominance, and protect our environment. In campaign news out of Wyoming, Treasurer Mark Gordon has been declared the winner of the state's GOP primary race for governor. Gordon edging out businessman Foster Freese yesterday, and current Democratic state legislator Mary Throne is the winner in the Democratic governor's race with 72% of the vote. Incumbent U.S. Senator John Barrasso wins easily. Barrasso will face Democrat Gary Trauner in November. Trauner was unopposed in the Democratic primary in the state. In the U.S. House race, incumbent Republican Liz Cheney, daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, will advance to November. Cheney will take on the winner of the Democratic U.S. House primary between Greg Hunter and Travis Helm. Back to Montana news, a citizens group says Initiative 185, which raises tobacco taxes and extends Medicaid expansion in Montana, is unconstitutional and should be removed from the ballot. The Guardian group says I-185 is unconstitutional because, if passed, it would appropriate state money to support Medicaid expansion. The state's constitution does not allow voter initiatives to appropriate money directly. The Secretary of State's office tells MTN the measure will not be removed. A spokesman for the Guardian group says it may consider taking some court action. And another ballot issue, the Green Party. The Montana Supreme Court has ruled Green Party candidates will not be included in the Montana ballot this November. Late last night, the state's highest court upheld last month's decision, which invalidated about 80 signatures used to qualify the Green Party for the ballot. Without those signatures, the Green Party falls short of their minimum requirements. But the issue isn't settled just yet. The Green Party still has a federal court lawsuit seeking to reinstate its candidates. The deadline to certify ballots for printing is this Thursday. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on the Statewide Noon News. Coming up, an arrest is made in the case of Molly Tibbetts, how security footage helped police catch her suspected killer. But first, after a couple days of fall-like temperatures, things are starting to warm up again. Ed will have your full forecast right after the break.
You're watching MTN News with Samantha Harrelson, Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and Farm and Ranch News from the Northern Ag Network. This is the noon news on Q2, Montana's news leader.